The woman had only kindly sponsored a young beggar who scavenged for scraps. But what she never could have imagined was that this act of kindness would change the beggar's entire destiny. Years later, the frail child had clawed his way up through sheer determination and become the richest man in the world. And he had been searching all along for the woman who had once helped him. What he didn't know was that the woman now faced ruin as her company's funds had dried up. A large group of employees had gathered below her company building demanding unpaid wages. The instigators of this crisis were none other than the two children she had kindly adopted years ago. They had secretly transferred the company's assets long ago. They had conspired to oust the woman from her position. They even sought to seize control of the company for themselves. They claimed that if the woman would only sign the company transfer agreement, they could resolve the issue of unpaid wages. But the woman flatly refused. She declared that even if she went bankrupt, she would never hand the company over to these two ungrateful brats. Seeing her resolute stance, the adopted daughter immediately began inciting the protesting employees. She claimed the woman had already transferred all the company's funds overseas. If they wanted their wages, they must not let her leave. With that, she turned and walked away. Unbeknownst to the employees, this entire scheme had been meticulously orchestrated by the adopted daughter and son. They began hurling insults at the woman. Some even threw stones at her. As the employees' emotions spiraled out of control, the woman urgently pleaded for calm. She pledged her personal integrity as collateral, vowing to sell off all her assets if necessary to repay the wages owed. Seeing she didn't appear to be lying, the crowd agreed to give her 3 days. If she failed to deliver within that time, they vowed to pursue the matter relentlessly. Once everyone had dispersed, the woman finally breathed a sigh of relief. But where to find the millions needed for the wages became her new headache. Her assistant reminded her that a city bidding event would take place that afternoon. If their company could win the bid, they could perfectly navigate this crisis. The woman knew this bidding event was her only lifeline. But to first stabilize the employees' emotions, she still instructed her assistant to sell all assets under her name. This would allow her to distribute a portion of the wages to the staff. What the woman didn't know was that today's bidding session was actually organized by the little beggar she had sponsored years ago. He also learned from his assistant that the woman was going to attend the bidding session, which quietly sparked a sense of anticipation deep in his heart. When the woman arrived at the bidding conference, she unexpectedly ran into an old acquaintance. It was none other than her college classmate Kelly. She immediately asked Kelly if she could borrow $6 million to help her out of her predicament, promising to repay the full amount with interest within a month. But Kelly had no intention of helping her. Instead, she mocked her as a loser. Can't even come up with a measly $6 million? The woman had expected Kelly to extend a hand out of old friendship. Instead, Kelly seized the opportunity to humiliate her further. Kelly then offered to lend her the money, but she demanded a show of genuine sincerity. The woman assumed Kelly simply wanted higher interest, so she offered to raise the interest rate to 30%. But Kelly calmly sat down. She demanded the woman kneel before everyone and beg for the loan. The woman fell silent for a moment. A flash of humiliation and anger flickered in her eyes, yet she slowly knelt down. She thought Kelly would honor her promise, but Kelly suddenly burst into laughter. She declared it was all a joke. Then with a smug expression she declared she had a surprise for the woman. She clapped her hands. The woman's adopted son and daughter, accompanied by several company employees, approached. It turned out both had long since sided with Kelly. Only now did the woman realize this entire scheme had been meticulously planned by her adopted children and Kelly. Fury erupted within her. She angrily accused her adopted children of ingratitude, but one male employee abruptly slapped her across